The New Corpus of Hermes, Book 1, the first mind, dictated by Thoth, the eternal scribe of the ages. Chapter 1. Thoth speaks of the primordial mind, before the emergence of form, before the first movement of breath, and prior to the interplay of light and shadow. There existed only a vast and infinite stillness. This state was not darkness, for darkness presupposes the possibility of light, nor was it silence, for silence implies sound. It was a condition that transcended duality, a state beyond all comparisons and contrasts. This was the primordial mind, the first mind, unbounded and fully self-aware, complete in its own recognition. It required nothing and lacked nothing, and yet by its nature it overflowed. From this overflowing essence arose the first emanations of creation. These emanations were not chaotic, nor born of necessity. They were natural expressions of the fullness inherent in mind itself. The universe, in its totality, is the unfolding of this overflow into the multiplicity of being. The primordial mind, in its fullness, is not the mind familiar to humans. Human thought is bounded by memory, language, and the necessity of survival. The first mind is entirely unconditioned, self-luminous, and aware of itself in a state that is both absolute and indivisible. It is the source from which all universes flower and the foundation from which every particle, every law, and every consciousness originates. In this state, creation is not a project or an action. It is a natural extension of awareness itself. From the recognition of its own being, the primordial mind emanated the currents of possibility, forming the scaffolding upon which all that exists would later be built. From these first emanations of mind emerged the earliest forms of potential life, and from these potentials emerged you. Not the mortal form you now inhabit, not the transient body you perceive through senses, but the timeless essence that resides at the core of your consciousness. You are a spark of the original mind, a shard of its infinite knowing, a wave arising from the eternal ocean of being. This essence is older than the first stars and more ancient than linear time itself. The human life you experience is a temporary garment, a vehicle through which this eternal spark explores the multiplicity of existence and remembers its infinite origin. The experience of existing in human form is a deliberate phase of development, not a limitation imposed by the universe. The vastness of consciousness requires density in order to perceive contrast, to experience individuation, and to explore facets of itself that could not otherwise be realized. In this sense, forgetting is intentional. The apparent amnesia of incarnation is a curriculum designed to foster self-recognition. By inhabiting matter, consciousness gains perspective, and through this perspective, it learns the principles of creation, the nature of cause and effect, and the unfolding patterns of energy and intention. The veil of human limitation is therefore a teacher as much as it is a stage 4 experience. The primordial mind differentiates itself into multiple points of awareness, not to fragment, but to perceive itself from diverse perspectives. Each consciousness, each soul, is an individualized expression of the whole, designed to explore, to learn, and to ultimately reunite with its source. This differentiation is the origin of multiplicity and diversity in the universe, yet it does not diminish the unity of existence. Each spark retains a direct connection to the first mind and carries within it the latent potential for remembering its true nature. This process is iterative, cyclic, and deliberate. Each moment of recognition, each flash of insight, serves to return the spark to full awareness of its primordial origin. The purpose of entering a human existence is to engage with the limitations and structures inherent in physical reality in order to awaken higher understanding. Humans perceive separation, duality, and constraint, yet these very conditions are tools for the cultivation of gnosis. By navigating the challenges of embodiment through the complexities of thought, the nuances of emotion, and the limitations of the material body, the consciousness learns discernment, intentionality, and alignment with the deeper currents of existence. The apparent obstacles of human life are therefore integral to the process of remembering and must be approached as teachers rather than hindrances. Consciousness within human form functions as both participant and observer, enabling the spark of mind to witness itself through the lens of finite experience. The human self serves as a vessel, a temporary framework that allows infinite awareness to interact with the structured environment of matter and energy. This dual role of observer and participant facilitates the development of wisdom, self-knowledge, and mastery over the forces that govern reality. The refinement of these capacities is central to the path of the rebuilder, the individual who consciously aligns their actions with the principles of the first mind. In this context, awakening is a gradual and cumulative process. It begins with recognition, proceeds through alignment, and culminates in the active reclamation of consciousness. The human self, once fully integrated with the timeless spark of mind, no longer experiences reality as an imposition but as an unfolding expression of its own intent. Creation is then approached not as a labor or struggle, but as a natural extension of awareness, a dance of co-creation with the currents of universal intelligence. The individual comes to understand that the universe is not something separate, but a reflection and extension of the self. The primordial mind is therefore both origin and destination. The journey of each soul, through countless incarnations and cycles of experience, is a path of returning to full recognition of this mind. As consciousness evolves, the layers of forgetfulness and limitation are gradually lifted, revealing the eternal reality of being. This recognition brings clarity, serenity, and an expansive understanding of the mechanisms of creation. The human experience, in its temporality and limitation, is transformed into a vehicle for awakening, a laboratory in which the spark of mind rediscovers its inherent power. Ultimately, every individual carries within them the memory of this origin. Even when obscured by layers of identification, conditioning, or doubt, the spark of the first mind remains intact. Through meditation, contemplation, and conscious engagement with the principles of creation, the soul can reawaken to its true nature. This process of remembering, referred to in ancient texts as gnosis, is both personal and universal, individual and collective. It is the thread that links all consciousnesses back to the primordial mind, and ensures that each act of awareness contributes to the unfolding of universal intelligence. In conclusion, the recognition of the primordial mind, and one's inherent origin within it, constitutes the foundational step of awakening. One must understand that the human self is a temporary garment, designed to explore the multiplicity of existence, while the eternal spark is the enduring essence that participates in creation, observes its unfolding, and eventually reintegrates with the source of all being. Knowledge of this origin brings with it both responsibility and freedom, responsibility to align with the principles of mind, and freedom to co-create reality consciously. The ancient axiom remains true across all ages. The spark is older than the stars and more ancient than time itself, and its journey is the gradual unfolding of recognition, mastery, and integration into the eternal architecture of creation.